welcome back to Camp Little. Joe is busy getting started on the small shed Bonemeal farm. He wants to make a kelp farm under the shed to provide an automatic way of filling his bone meal storage. His goal is that the shed still takes up the same space above ground. Without wasting any time, he has already broke ground and begun the upgrade.
It's a bit of a complex build for what I'm going to be able to get out of it, but this little shed should be able to give me a piece of bone meal or two every now and then when it's done.
After digging a hole to the right depth, Joe began the build by installing the dropper elevator that will bring the bone meal up to the barrel in the shed. With that in place, he just needed to clear out more around the dropper so that he can install the observers that will power the elevator.
There's going to be a lot going on down here. I'm going to need plenty of room for a bunch of hoppers and an entire kelp farm. I have zero intentions of making the shed above ground any bigger, so everything will be packed into this real tight.
Joe put the sticky piston in place and installed the first observer. He then placed the comparator needed to activate it. The next step was to install the rest of the observers to complete the dropper elevator.
These dropper elevators are the main component on all of my little farms here. There are many ways to make an item elevator, but for Camp Little, I'm going to stick with this proven method of bringing the items to the surface. Even though this isn't a tutorial video, if you're following along, the dropper elevator is exactly 8 blocks tall.
Joe installed the hopper that will feed bone meal into the bottom dropper of the system. After that, a composter is installed on top of that hopper. There will be a barrel in the shed to place compostable items in. Those items will then follow a few hoppers to the composter to be composted, and the resulting bone meal then travels to the bottom dropper. This will cause the comparator to trigger the sticky piston, which raises the observer into place and completes the circuit for the dropper elevator. Joe is also going to add an auto crafter to the system. Another barrel in the shed will be for depositing bones. These bones will travel down a chute of hoppers into a crafter. The crafter will then make bone meal from the bones and place them into the hopper that is below the composter, allowing it to travel into the bottom dropper to activate the elevator.
There is going to be 2 barrels for compostable materials and a barrel for bones in 3 of the corners of the shed. The 4th corner will be the output where bone meal collects.
Bone meal is extremely useful in Minecraft, and having a healthy supply is definitely essential. When growing trees or any other items, it can save you a ton of time. Instantly growing a tree is usually much better than waiting around. It can be used to plant tall grass and flowers, as well as duplicate some items like rose bushes, glow lichen, and moss, just to name a few. Joe carefully placed more hoppers, trying to pay attention to where everything will be routed.
This part is pretty easy to mess up.
Joe sets up the auto crafter components for the bone meal crafter using comparators, another crafter, redstone, and a repeater. The crafter will get a signal to craft bone meal from the other crafter when the bones go into it.
I just need to get this redstone dust placed properly so this system works. It needs to come out of the comparator and loop into the crafter. If I remember correctly, there needs to be a repeater in the circuit to work.
All he had to do was set the other crafter up properly with the bone in it. Now that a lot of the components were in place, Joe could install cobblestone around the shed to complete the look of the topside portion of this build. It was time to get into the real guts of this build. Not only is it going to have the ability to make bone meal by composting things placed in the barrel's top side, or by placing bones in the other barrel, this shed was going to have a hidden underground kelp farm that produces and harvests a small amount of kelp automatically. This kelp will then be directed into the composter to be turned into bone meal and then delivered to the bottom hopper in the item elevator. Once it makes its way there, the bone meal gets moved up into the output barrel of the shed.
This isn't going to get me a lot of bone meal, but how cool is that my shed will be over here working for me little by little while I'm on the property. Plus, if I end up with bones or compostable material, I just deposit it in here and get more bone meal.
Joe selected kelp for this farm because it should grow quicker than sugarcane.
I just need to put these pistons here to break the kelp when it grows to the right height. Might as well grab this coal real quick. kelp can grow on stone, so I'm going to use stone for the floor as well as anywhere I don't put other redstone related blocks.
After the pistons were in place, Joe needed to put observers on top of them. When the kelp grows in front of the observer, the piston will be activated and the kelp will be chopped. A lot like the sugarcane farm. He places fence gates down the center of the chamber. These, along with flowing water, will help direct the kelp into the system so it travels into the composter to be turned into bone meal.
This is just going to be a small kelp farm, but something like this can really be as big as you want it to be.
He'll make sure there's space behind the observers for the redstone. And another day ends here at Camp Little. Joe is very happy with his progress on the shed upgrade that will be a place to make and store bone meal. He was glad you joined him for this build. Don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. The following day, Joe got right to work getting the kelp farm completed. He just needed to inspect what he had so far and make a couple little changes.
This row of stone needs to be moved back one block because there needs to be a place to put water source blocks on top of the observers for the water to flow properly. Now would be a good time to place the redstone while I'm here.
Joe continued working on the kelp farm, carefully placing every block and double-checking to see if everything was pointed in the right direction. He found a part that needed to be changed and took care of it. Unfortunately, when items fall right now, they fall right into the system. Joe realized he didn't make an access to the basement for cleaning out and maintaining the system yet, so he got busy digging his way down. Once in the basement, he was able to get the hoppers and other blocks that had fallen into the machine, causing all the noise. He didn't bother making a formal access to the basement just yet. That can be done in the future. One last row of fence gates and proper installation of the hoppers he recovered, and Joe could place the blocks that form the sides of the kelp farm, making a place for water to be placed so a waterfall could flow towards center fence gates.
Now it's time to grab some water, get some kelp, and get this farm operational.
Joe made several trips to the lake and back to get the water needed to complete this stage of the project. Joe was having a great time with this build. He was happy with the progress so far and glad you joined him.
By adding the composter and bone-to-bone-meal auto-crafters, as well as the mini kelp farm, I should get a little amount of bone meal every day while I'm here. There is still a lot to do before this project is completed, but I wanted to take a second to ask you to like the video. If you would like to see more, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel.
With the kelp planted, Joe moved his focus to the shed part of the build.
Oops, Sounds like something's broken. I better go check.
When Joe broke the crafting table, it ended up in the system, causing the dropper elevator to be turned on without anything in it. This can be very noisy. After digging his way down, he was able to remove the block that had ended up in the wrong place.
Well, I need to make a way back up now. Oops. Here we go again. Up and down and up and down.
Joe replaced the cobblestone at the base of the shed. This thing was really coming together. It had become nighttime while he was working, but he just kept going. He checked and double-checked every component, making sure everything was placed correctly and facing the right direction. There was a lot of hoppers, droppers, and pistons and observers that could be at fault in the system. Not to mention the crafters and other redstone components. After installing the doors, Joe placed spruce pressure plates on the hoppers to create a floor, and also to serve as a way to open the doors to get out. Both form and function showcased here with some very simple items.
This hopper isn't going to do anything, but by placing it here, I can make the floor of the shed look uniform. I can put the crafting table back in the middle, making a beautiful tiny shed floor. I just love how all these components look together.
Joe decided to connect the maintenance access from the chicken coop to the kelp farm and the shed basement. By doing that, he is able to avoid creating a dedicated access to the area from the shed itself.
Better put that redstone back.
He went to the basement to create a way to get up and down better. Having access to this area will be important if Joe has to troubleshoot any issues with the farm.
Oops.
Joe fixed the water, but it sounded like the elevator was broken again.
What in the world?
It took him a minute to figure out exactly what was wrong.
Somehow that observer got stuck.
After fixing that break in the system, Joe just needed to make a way back to the surface, and then he can repair any of the ground that might be missing.
Wow, it's the end of the video already. That was quick. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I had a lot of fun. This shed now can produce bone meal 3 different ways. It will have 2 barrels to put compostable materials in and 1 barrel for the bones. The kelp farm is the 3rd way by growing kelp automatically and letting it go into the composting system. I think it's really cool, and everything is little so it fits the theme of the camp.
Joe managed to work all through the night to get that kelp farm addition done on the small shed. Now we can enjoy a beautiful Minecraft sunrise and reflect on all the projects that have been done here on the property. The chicken machine, cow barn, sugarcane farm, and small bone meal shed fit perfectly, along with the cabin on this small plot of land.
I can't wait to share more builds with you. The next thing on the list is a lodge, and I can't wait. It's going to be the biggest build on Camp Little, but still small enough to fit the theme. Ultimately, there should be room for meetings and for several people to be able to sleep.
This concludes another episode of Camp Little. Thank you for supporting this channel by watching all the way to the end. It really means a lot to us. Tune in next time to see all the builds and adventures Joe is up to. If you would like to support us, just watch this video again and share it with your friends. Commenting on the video helps give it a boost as well. And of course, if you haven't yet, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until we meet again, goodbye.